husband. Just a quick note, I spent a little bit of time right before I came tonight watching TV, and as we've all seen, the incident that's happening in Boulder, so I did want to, extend our warm wishes out to those families and those individuals that were affected today. It was an unfortunate situation that happened up there, and I hope they're able to get through that. But with that said, I know we do have a very full agenda tonight. We have some individuals in the actual council meeting room tonight that we want to discuss and talk to, so I'll move on. First item on the agenda is going to be our invocation. We have Galen Burnett. Would you give us the invocation?
Father, we're thankful for your great love and your work, your provision for our city. Father, we're thankful for the moisture that we got today. We ask that we will continue to get some more as we head on into spring. Father, we're thankful for our city council and the administration of our city. Father, we pray you put your blessing upon them, and that you will help them to do the best job that they can to make the decisions and to put into operation their plans to improve our city. Father, we pray that you will just give them wisdom and guidance, direction as they discuss tonight, and as they discuss every day through this coming weeks. Father, we ask for your special blessing upon our city, on our people, and we thank you for that. We thank you in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Manuel, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, before I call the meeting to order, I did have one change that I would like to make to the agenda. Item number 1 on new business was a presentation to the key of the city to Zane Rankin, and I'd like to move that up to right after the public comment, right before the reports and correspondence. That way the audience doesn't have to sit and wait through part of that meeting there. So are we okay with that?
Yes.
Everybody agree? Okay. All right, with that said, we'll call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Joe Gonzalez.
Here.
Rafael Rodriguez.
Here.
Jerry Jenkins.
She online?
Kurt Crespin.
Here.
Oscar Riley.
Here.
Manuel Temez.
Here.
Anne Marie Crampton.
Here.
Steve Kill.
Here.
Kristen McCray.
Here.
Lance Clark.
Here. We should have all had a chance to look at the consent agenda. Were there any items that needed to be separated out before voting? I didn't see any offhand.
I didn't either.
Okay. Entertain a motion.
I move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any final questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. The next item is our public comment. During this portion of the meeting, anyone may speak on any subject that does not appear on the council agenda. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each, and it's at the discretion of the council. Did we have anybody here tonight that would like to speak to the council? Okay, seeing none. We do have our live video feed happening on Facebook and YouTube. And of course, if you do have any questions, you're welcome to ask them on Facebook or message them directly, and we'll address those at the end of the meeting during our miscellaneous comments. So with that said, we do have some visitors here tonight, and we'll move on to the first item on the agenda, which is giving the key to the city to Zane Rankin. Of course, he had an incredible year this year. This is your senior year, is that correct? So, and he just recently won the state championship for wrestling. So I asked him to come in along with his coaches and talk to the council, or, so if you and your family would like to come up for a minute, that'd be great. Of course, we usually give them a key to the city, and we do have one here that we generally will give to them. But one thing that I wanted to do a little differently this year was I had Steve help me. Oh, this thing's tight. I was having Steve help me write up a proclamation, and I was going to read that proclamation, and ask for a vote by the council before before I get this going here. Sorry. Should have brought scissors. Maybe I need to have you wrestle it.
That way you know it's brand new.
Yeah, it's brand spanking new.
It's brand new, so.
Have to wrestle it open literally there. So what we have is we have the key to the city that we usually give to them, and we'll present that here in a second. But before I go there, let me go over this proclamation. If you'd like to stand this way, facing the cameras, that would be great, and I'll read this out. This is for Proclamation 2101. The City of Lamar, Colorado is proud to recognize the individual achievement of Zane Rankin as the first three-time state champion in the history of Lamar High School. And as such, I, Kirk Crespin, as Mayor of Lamar, hereby present this proclamation to the City Council of Lamar. Be known to all citizens of Lamar, Colorado, that the City of Lamar hereby recognizes and acknowledges Zane Rankin as one of the most outstanding athletes in the history of Lamar High School. And whereas Zane has achieved the status of three-time state wrestling champion, a feat that no other individual athlete has yet accomplished, and whereas, in addition to his unprecedented accomplishment, in Lamar High School history, he was also named the CHSAA 2A Player of the Year in football. And whereas the city also recognizes the coaching staff at Lamar High School for their hard work and dedication to help develop Zane into the first three-time state champion. And whereas the day of 25th of March, 2021 shall be known as Lamar High School Savage Spirit Day, and all students, faculty, staffs, and citizens of the City of Lamar are encouraged to proudly wear Lamar High School colors and show their school spirit. Now therefore, I, Kirk Crespin, Mayor of the City of Lamar, hereby recognizes Zane Rankin as Lamar High School's first three-time state champion and declare March 25th, 2021 as Lamar High School Savage Spirit Day in his honor. So, can we have a motion on that?
So moved.
I'll
Second.
second it.
We have a motion and a second to approve the proclamation. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. I'm going to come around. Can we have the coaches come up as well? Sneak by here. I'm going to sign these right in front of you there. And there's 3 copies. Is there at least 1 of 3? Coaches, great. That's what I was asking. That's what I was asking. Of course, we could have given it to you and then signed it. Okay, I'll put that one there. Are you right-handed or left-handed? Right-handed, okay. Great, we'll do it this way.
Congratulations.
We have a copy of the proclamation, a copy of the certificate, and then Greg also wanted to give you this as well. Thank you. Good picture there. All right. Congratulations and great job. Amazing job.
See if you can take him down.
Something like that. Thank you, congratulations. Thank you. Oops. Before you go. Here you go, you sort with the other 2. Thank you.
Thanks.
I think he's gonna have a key ring. We need to give him a key ring for all the keys to the city we've given him. So that would be his 3rd key to the city for his 3rd championship. So it was very good achievement and well-deserved, so happy to do that. All right, so we'll move on with tonight's business. The next item on the agenda is the city treasurer's report. Do you have anything for us tonight?
I don't, thank you.
You don't, okay. And then we would move on to the city clerk's report.
And I have no more.
Okay, and then the next item would be the city administrator report.
I'm gonna go ahead and run through it real quick. Just a few things on the report, North Gateway Park improvements. Just so everybody knows, we're gonna be starting construction on the kayak building real quick. Pat has also started construction on the beach. So, temporary setback, but, the dozer's working fine right now, so, we're gonna be working that. We'll have everything completed by the summer, so everybody can look forward to that, so hopefully we'll get that going, real quick, but we will have everything done by the summer. Community building roof project, I put 95% complete, it's basically 100% complete now. We write these about a week ahead of time, so in the last week, all we have are a bunch of items left, so the community building roof project looks really good. We have the city council sponsored community meet and greet picnic, that is confirmed for June 4th. So we're gonna go ahead, Martha's gonna start promoting that and advertising it, so that's gonna be out shortly. So as everybody will recall, we agreed on hot dogs, chips, bottled water. We're gonna do a free swim from 7 to 9. So we're hoping that we get a lot of good turnout from the community and looking forward to the event. Headworks project update, project is nearly complete. Bypass pumping has been terminated. We did run into a kind of a larger change order, but once we drained the pit, so to speak, we had noticed that there was quite a bit more damage than anybody could have foreseen on inspection. Had to be done, we had no choice but to get it done while we were doing the project. So that's done, working fine, and we have our bioxide treatment in place, so hopefully we won't have to deal with this again. And as everybody knows, we are working towards a wastewater treatment facility, but that's a few years away yet. Strategic planning session update. Dr. Lujan is available either April 17th or May 1st. The only item left here is for the council to decide on date.
17th works for me, I'm tied up on the 1st.
Okay. 17th work for everybody, or is that, it's gonna be a little tough for me, but, you said you are tied up on the 1st?
Yeah, I'll be out of town.
What about the 24th? Or we decided that one, that wouldn't work on the 24th?
Well,
I just gave her 2 dates, so.
That's right, the 1st or the
that's why I thought
24th.
Emery only cleared 2 dates, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Not that she wouldn't be available, it's just, she said she could be available those 2 dates. So if we can't match up, then we can try it again.
Yeah, the 24th of the 1st would work better for me than the 17th, but I
You wanna
can,
try the 24th, April 24th, right?
what about the rest of the council?
I can't do the 24th, but the 1st or the 17th would work.
Okay. Oscar?
I'm available.
I'll be available anyway, I got to ask for a day off anyway, so.
And Anne Marie?
Yeah, yeah, I'm okay.
You're okay, either one?
For
Should we-
for those, that time frame, yes.
Yeah,
Should we just try a different date? I mean, or,
Either that, I mean, it was one of those things, if I'm not able to make it, I'm just not able to make it, I'm okay with that.
if we could try the 24th, that would be great. If Dr. Lujan would be able to do the 24th,
I'll check
let's
with
do that.
April the 24th, I'll be in Colorado
Oh,
Springs.
you're gone, you're out,
Yeah.
so that's not gonna work for you,
well,
Joe.
it seems, okay.
Okay, so.
I mean, any other day would work great.
Can
We can
everybody
bump
do
it to the
May
8th.
1st?
I
Huh?
can't do first.
You
I'm the
can't do
only one.
1st, you can't do
I-
24th, you can't do 17th.
I can do the 8th.
What
He
about,
has
May 8th.
graduation,
I was
Is
thinking
that,
about.
is that graduation?
yeah,
May eighth.
college.
Okay.
And then the following week is the August.
Yes.
What about the
Well, could we do it perhaps
22nd?
in the evening?
Would it be on the same days?
Well, no, but we have our council meetings, we have a study session. Couldn't we maybe just do a 6 to 8 strategic planning session on a Monday?
I guess we could, yeah.
Just pick our, instead of a study session or a work session, maybe we just turn it into a strategic planning session.
On just do a separate one on the 19th maybe, or the 3rd?
Either date would work for me.
Well, those days, the point is, those dates are cleared anyway,
Right.
for everybody. And then Anne Marie could check with Linda to see if she's available.
On
And it's
evening.
it's a Monday evening, so she wouldn't have to clear a weekend.
So which days am I supposed to be checking now?
I guess I'm a little foggy on that myself right now.
We were looking
12th or
at
the 26th?
12th or the 26th. The 26th, we have a council meeting, so it'd actually be the 19th or the 3rd would be the only 2 days. Because we have a council meeting on those other days.
Well, we could do April 5th.
That would be a little quick, but we could.
Well, a little quick, but I mean,
We could do the 5th. We are planning for one anyhow.
Yeah, we were planning for one anyway.
So April 5th,
Or the 7th, the 12th, 5th, 19th, sorry. 5th to the 19th.
okay.
Are we good with that, the 5th or the 19th?
That works for me.
And could we start perhaps
5.
maybe at 5:30, the latest,
Okay.
5, if everybody can make it? Then we can go 5 to 8, and we can give a solid 3 hours.
With caffeine.
With caffeine. Okay.
Maybe 5 to 8 on the.
I would say if she could do the 5th, we'll go with the 5th, since it's already a scheduled work session tonight. Is that okay, Anne Marie? All right, are we good? Got a
Okay.
consensus?
Will we do it in here?
Yes.
Okay, because the auditor will be set up in there.
Oh, we could do it downstairs as well.
Oh,
at
yeah,
the-
no, he'll just be in that back room.
Okay. We won't meet in there, no. Okay,
So we're gonna check with Dr. Lujan on April 5th, 5 to 8 p.m.
correct.
Okay.
Okay. All right. The only other thing, you did have one other item there.
One other item, right. Yeah, I was speaking with Kurt, and we actually wanted to discuss real quick the water restriction situation, and just so it's clear, Linda checked it, and apparently it's not from 10 to 6, it's from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m.
That is correct.
Everybody seemed to have everybody thought it was 10, but
I-
Linda checked and it's 11 to 6, so I guess, Kirk, you were wondering how everybody felt about the current restrictions. I know that, Pat,
So-
I think you're okay with what we have right now, right? I mean,
Yeah, I think I'd be comfortable with going for maybe another 3 months and then reevaluate if we need to or something. I think we're in that shape now that I would be comfortable continuing that same restriction.
Because we're in phase 1 is what this would be considered as. So you cannot water between 11 and 6 p.m., 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Because that's the hottest time of the day, so you're not supposed to be watering to conserve water. Okay.
I mean, right now our wells seem to be recharging fine, so we don't have any pumping problems.
Okay.
So maybe just, and it doesn't seem, I've not heard any complaints really from residents about that minor restriction. It's still water early in the morning and water in the evening, so it's not that big of a deal, I don't think.
Okay.
I don't know, has anybody heard
Council?
any complaints?
I think it's good, yeah.
Give him
Is there
direction.
one day that we don't water at all?
We changed that last year to where it was Monday, it was 7 days a week.
Okay.
We did have it to where it wasn't on Friday, but that was 2 years ago.
So we're good.
Okay, so are we good with that, staying with
Yes.
phase 1? The existing, okay. So Martha, if you can schedule to put that out there for the media, that would be great. The only other item that you didn't have on your report that I wanted to ask about and get clarification is our spring cleaning month. When does that start?
Okay, for marketing purposes, we're gonna go with the month of April.
So
The
then I'll-
entire month.
The entire month, every
Friday,
weekend, Friday, Saturday,
Sunday,
Sunday.
all month long. We wanted to include that weekday in there, I know Manuel wanted that in there. Instead of trying to break it into the last half of April, first half of May, Martha thought it would be easier marketing wise if we stuck with one calendar month, so that's what we wanna do, and we'll have open transfer station.
Which is gonna be free for the citizens, residents, is that correct?
The citizens, yes, residents.
So free dump weekends on a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, beginning the first weekend of April, and it'll last throughout, every weekend throughout April. so that there are no limitations. If they have 4 truckloads, they can take 4 truckloads. If they want to haul in for their neighbors, they could do that as well. Is that what you have, Martha?
So we wanted to stay away from the first weekend, right, because of Easter Sunday?
Right.
Yeah, so starting on the weekend of the 9th, 10th, and 11th on to the very last of April 30th, and then it'll be May 1st and May 2nd.
Okay.
Just 'cause
And you'll
of
get that
Easter.
out this week?
Yes.
Okay. So she'll get those dates published out this week then?
But all this, it does not include e-waste or solvents, paint solvents, or anything like that, correct?
No special handling, or how did we have that?
We're gonna, I mean, basically all the same rules apply as any normal pre-cleanup. So they'll have to keep any paint, liquids separate, and we'll have to do it separate. I mean, they can bring it to us, but they need to keep it separate from their loads. So like white goods, like refrigerators, appliances, things, will have to be kept separate. Any hazardous materials or waste of any kind, we need to call that out when we come to the gate. We'll have to put that in a certain location.
Okay.
So they won't get charged for like, they taking a TV or anything like that?
None of these, yeah, I mean, TVs will take, tires, just basically, obviously no asbestos or some kind of super hazardous waste or something,
Okay.
Is there a way we can make it so at least during the week, somebody can go out to at least the main landfill? I know a lot of people work the weekends.
Well, that's why we had a Friday included all 4 weekends.
Well, like I said, a lot of people work Friday, Saturday, Sundays.
Because we were gonna try to do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 2 weekends, but we figured it would be easier just to do a whole month of 4 weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I mean, I'm sure if there's somebody that absolutely cannot make it, we'll try to accommodate them if they would just contact us. So we
That's what I was gonna
we can do our best,
Or
yeah. I
at least
mean,
make it so they can take it out to the landfill maybe, because I mean, they're open every day.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, and I guess if somebody's having that big of a problem with it, we can certainly assist them. So it shouldn't be that big of a deal.
Okay. Okay. I just wanted to clarify that before we move forward. Any questions for the city administrator on his report? Okay. And other than that, the only other item that you had on, that you didn't put on the report is, of course, now we have March 25th, which will be the Lamar High School Savage Spirit Day. So as far as events or activities that are happening in Lamar, we'll have that. Encourage everybody to wear their orange and black on Thursday, this coming up Thursday, and show their school spirit. So with that said, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, reports and correspondence from the council. Do we have any liaison reports? Nope.
So I have one.
Okay.
Not that I'm multitasking in class, but I was able to contact Linda Lujan by psychic abilities, and she said 419 works for her, 45 does not.
Okay, so 419 then? Okay, so we'll schedule the strategic planning meeting for 419, starting at 5, right?
Yes.
Okay, any other liaison reports? Seeing none. Did you have anything, Jerry? Is she there?
We're unmuting her.
Are you there, Jerry?
No, I don't.
Okay, just making sure. All right, with that said, we'll continue to move on to our next item on the agenda, which is our old business. Tonight, we have a public hearing for the transfer of ownership fermented malt beverage liquor license from Pilot Travel Center LLC to G. Ajula, is that? Ajula, okay, and Lamar LLC. So with that said, if we can move into a public hearing, can I get a motion for that?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to move into the public hearing for the transfer of ownership. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion passes. Okay, so the first item on the public hearing would be the proof of publication Do we have verification of the publication of notice?
Yes, it was published in the Lamar Ledger on April 1st and posted on the site.
All right. Any other opening remarks before we move forward from you? Okay. City council comments. Do we have any comments from the council on this item? With that said, we'll open the floor to anybody that is opposed to the liquor license transfer from Pilot to Pejula. Anybody who'd like to speak to the council in opposition?
I'm Galen Burnett, live 800 South 6th Street here in Lamar.
Okay.
I'm sure that probably you've all seen me. I am concerned about drinking here in our area, driving while they're drinking or after they're drunk. Ooh, man, great English. After they have drunk some is a huge problem in our county, in our city, and in our nation. 30 people die every day from crashes that has at least one driver impaired by alcohol. A third of all fatal car crashes now involve an intoxicated person. Across our nation, we have set a uniform standard of 0.08 BAC as the legal limit. But of course, people who are drinking under the age of 21, their limit is 0. Any alcohol that they consume is illegal. Shouldn't be there. Also, we have a number of trucks that run through this area. If you have a CDL license, you don't have the 0.08 BAC. Your CDL license will require a 0.04 BAC. So they have half of the latitude. Why is it that way? It's because the drivers of these big trucks, they're big, they're huge, they don't stop, they don't avert like a smaller vehicle can. They know that if there is danger there from alcohol usage. Of the drivers with a blood alcohol concentration greater than 0.08, 1 out of 3 are between the ages of 21 and 24. 1/3 of the people with a blood alcohol count that way are young adults. What about all the rest of us? You know, most of us have lived beyond 24. Young adults don't have the wisdom and the experience that's needed. We need to make sure that we don't make alcohol too accessible for them. Motorcyclists are also at a severe risk. It's been nice and warm. My one son has gone off on motorcycle rides with others of his friends this last week. 1/3 of the motorcyclists killed in fatal crashes have a BAC above the legal limit. If you've had a previous DWI, you're 7 times more likely to be involved in a fatal crash. Some people say, well, I don't drink very much. Even though the legal limit is 0.08%, smaller amounts of alcohol still affect your driving. At a BAC of 0.02, a person's visual functioning declines and ability to multitask is hampered. Their judgment is impaired. They become too relaxed. At a BAC of 0.05, eye movement, reaction time, and information processing is all slowed. It progressively gets worse and worse and worse. This is an opportunity for you to not increase the alcohol usage in our area. If we don't have it, they can't buy it, theoretically.
Okay.
So, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Okay, or is there anybody else that would like to speak against this transfer of ownership? Seeing none, anyone that would like to speak for the transfer of ownership? Would you like to speak to the council? State your name and
My
address.
name is Gurvinder Ajla, and I've been in this industry for the last 36 years. And I own a bunch of stations in Vegas, in Phoenix, LA, and here. So I had an opportunity to come here. I have some joint ventures with Pilot, so this was the opportunity, so I exercised my right to avail this opportunity. I really, agree with a lot of people about their concerns about drinking and driving and all that, so why the teenagers and all that. So, but we have to be responsible. We are very responsible. We card them. We give training to our cashiers, and in the last 36 years, I don't have more than 2 violations. So we call people to educate our cashiers and our clerks. So even if somebody we see is impaired, we just take the package and put it behind our counter. We don't even allow them to grab and run. So I just want to assure you, we will be very responsible. And I have 2 daughters, and I don't want I don't want any of my kids to get into this kind of situation, where they so. But it is very important for the C-store business. When a person comes here and goes to a liquor store and then makes another trip to cigarettes and some other. So I would request council and honorable mayor and honorable city members to approve this. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for investing in the community and taking over the pilot. We do appreciate that.
I just want to thank you, everybody, once again. I want to be a member of this community and allowing me to be a member of this community. I have met Missy. I didn't see her today, and I said, hey, listen, if I want to be called upon some work to be done in a city, from my side, I will be more than happy to do it, because I want to be a member. I don't want to just be taking the profits and going somewhere else. That's what I do it in other communities too. That's why I left 75 degrees in Phoenix to come to minus 75. So to personally come and see you guys and say, hey, look, I want to be a member here and I want to invest in this. Usually what happens is whenever I buy a business somewhere, it's away from my center of influence, so I take my team. Here, I did not. I said, I will bring a team from outside to train them or to work with us, but I will employ people from the community. That would be my goal, and I want to be part of the community, not bringing people somewhere else and not investing into them. Thank you again.
You did leave your phone number with Missy, right? So
Yes, I did. I wanted to say something about this young wrestler. I'm from northern India, farming community. That's why I like these farming communities. So we are farmers back in India. And the wrestling runs in our blood. So there's a very big Olympian, number 2 from our state, Mr. Punia. And, so I will
Sure.
ask this gentleman's address, and maybe, we'll share some, and I may contribute something towards his being involved into this thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, was there anybody else that would like to speak in favor of? Okay. Before I close the floor, we'll open it up to any city council comments or questions. Do you have any remaining? Have we had any concerns or issues with pilot in the past? Kyle?
No, we did a background that we normally do for the transfer of licenses and everything, do that, it's fine.
Everything, okay. Just thought I would ask the chief of police, so. Okay.
I'll ask one question. Usually there's some tips certified, people at those locations. Do you have any tips certified?
Yes.
Yes, or?
Yes, we have some certified. this gentleman is from Phoenix, so he's certified, he's gonna be here for 7 days, and then we will also, if whatever the state requires us to send somebody for the training, we will be sending our general manager over there and then further, So we are very much aware of this process in Phoenix, but we will do whatever it takes to implement the same or more stringent rules.
And you may have some TIP certified employees already there. You
Yes,
just
there
want to-
are, but we still want to recertify them so often. So sometimes they know people and all that, they can skip some, important things, because it is a very important, to re-educating these guys or to sending them.
Okay, thank you. All right. Seeing no other questions, I'll close the floor. Can we get a motion to move out of the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to move out of the public hearing. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Now we would need to take action on the question of the public hearing and the transfer of ownership.
I move we approve transfer of ownership and liquor license.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to approve the transfer of ownership and liquor license. Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Jerry? And opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Okay. All right, so we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the airport update. Would you like to
Oscar, do
speak?
you want to start, or do you want me to start, or I can start? Okay.
Me and Steve and Pat met with the FBO people. Danny was there, so you weren't.
Made it move faster for me. Yeah.
And
So
no,
what we.
I'm trying to think of Tanya and Eric. Yeah. Anyway, we come to it, they had a set price, what they wanted for
And when you talked about it, you're talking about
The
all
FBO
the furnishings, the trucks,
trucks,
all the equipment that they have, the tools.
the, all the mechanical stuff. We have a list, a detailed list of the inventory they had on hand. And they come up with $111,750. Well, we come up with $100,159. And they agreed to that. And that includes $45,000 equity in the trucks. One we will buy outright, the other one's on a lease. And we will just take over the lease and finish it. Then the fuel is a separate item. You do inventory and pay, buy the fuel at cost. So that's about what we got to.
So to sum it up, what was happening is, of course, last time we spoke, we had talked about the city taking over the fixed-based operator operations at the airport. And in doing so, the next step would be, how do we fuel the trucks or how do we fuel the planes without the fuel trucks? So we were meeting to negotiate, or they were meeting to negotiate with the current FBO to negotiate out a price to purchase their fuel trucks. They had two trucks. One was on a lease, and that's the jet fuel truck, and the other one is a 100 low lead fuel truck, which is a little bit older, but that one was purchased outright. So the city of Lamar would be purchasing those two trucks, all their tools and necessities, as well as the furnishings and everything else that they have. So we'd be basically buying out all the physical inventory that the current FBO had and utilizing that to move forward with operations. This seemed like the most streamlined way to go about it. Our hope was that they could come to an agreement and negotiate at a price that was fair for both, and it sounds like they've done that with Oscar's report. So Basically,
Is there a
we-
time frame on that?
May 1st.
May
May
1st
1st?
would be when we take over completely, yes.
That, on those, back on those trucks,
Mhm.
we talked with Phelps.
Derek with Phillips 66, yes.
He valued that one, the newer, the big truck at between $85,000 and $90,000.
Is that the jet truck?
Yes. So, and with the lease and everything, but we'd take it over at 75.
What we would be doing, Joe, is they value the truck at $85,000 to $90,000. There's a current buyout of the truck of $56,841. We said, okay, we'll pay some equity in that truck, but we're not paying any more than $75,000. You're not getting the full equity in the vehicle. And they did agree to that, so basically, we would be buying equity in the jet truck of about $18,000 and some change, $159, which is still less than the market value of the truck, so.
And the new truck was $210,000, a basic new truck.
What year is this jet truck?
2002, 2008, something.
It's early 2000s, I believe it's 2002 if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Actually, it's a 2002 International, is what it is, I'm sorry, I wrote it down, yes.
But there's not too many on available to purchase.
So what we wanted to do tonight was give a report as far as the progress of taking over the fixed-based operator to the council, making sure that we're all moving in the right direction, and then we wanted to present the negotiated numbers to the council as far as what they agreed to, and hopefully get a head nod. We don't need a formal vote because we're not doing a contract, but we need a kind of a agreement that the council is okay with moving forward for Steve to send it to Lance to create a formal contract that we'll bring back to the council for an actual yes or no vote. So we didn't really have the contract yet because there is a lot to that contract to finalize the purchasing. So, but we wanted to make sure that the council was good with moving forward is basically what we're looking at.
So, just so you know, it's $100,159 for furniture and fixtures, $7,000. The jet truck, $75,000, which includes $18,159 in equity. The 100 low lead, they originally wanted $50,000 for it. We offered $25,000. That's the market value of that truck. They said, okay. Shop supplies, they wanted $53,150. After Pat and his team went through all the supplies and everything, that got knocked down to $50,000. At the time of negotiation, they had about $41,000 in fuel in the tanks. Of course, that's inventory. We would have to purchase that. So I talked to Kristen the other day. I said, so the bottom line, by the time you add the trucks, the shop supplies, the FFE, and the fuel, we're at about $141,000. But $41,000 of it is the purchase of just, we would have to buy fuel no matter what we did.
And that didn't include the financing of the, taking over the financing, is that correct?
That's buying them out,
It's buying them out.
buying the assets.
But not
Yes.
the.
Not the
Not
lease.
the truck, not the lease.
That's not paying
That
off the
doesn't
truck.
include the lease.
It's not,
That's
no,
not paying
we're
off the
making lease
lease.
payment.
Right.
We're only paying them for the equity in the truck.
Which is,
Exactly. I just want to make it clear
It's
that
an
that
equity
isn't
purchase is
purchasing
what it
both
is.
trucks. It's
Right.
just the equity in the
Right.
second.
We're just actually doing a straight purchase of one truck, and we're just paying the equity on the other one, but we still have the remaining balance of 59.
56,000
56.
and some 56,841 roughly.
And so that would be payable May 1st?
Well, what we're gonna do is we would actually give them a check for $100,159 for all the items and whatever the fuel was, whatever fuel that we have when we take it over. Now, we do wanna take over the fuel sooner, like very quickly, so that they're not paying for additional fuel, the city would be paying for it. So we have to pick a date in there where we can cut that off, where then fuel sales that are done would go to the city. And we have not had a chance to sit down and get the point of sale system straightened out and figure out what account, because a lot of those people use credit cards.
And we had talked about leasing
So-
those two trucks, is that correct, or were you still considering
You know
that?
what, I haven't had a lot of time to think about it. We had a brief conversation, I believe it was on Friday.
Right.
And so I haven't had a lot of time to look at it or think about it and get the specific numbers. My first inclination would be to buy the $25,000 one outright and then try to develop a lease on the other truck.
Okay.
Either doing a local lease, going out for bid. I just don't know if we have time. You know, so that the timing is going to be interesting as well. So those are the specifics that I have not yet had a chance to discuss in detail.
I promised Kristen she would not have to answer that question tonight because we haven't had enough time to look at anything. And I promised Lance too, because he has a lot of work to do. So
Yes, he does. And that's what my point was. I don't think we're looking at a final decision as far as,
Exactly. Just a
is this
direct-
the direction that we're going? Are we going in the right direction? Is this something the council understands that we're going to go through and have Lance do the paperwork, work up a contract? We're going to have Kristen work on deciding how we want to finance it, whether it be a lease or continue on with the lease that's currently there, and start working on trying to find the funding and getting that sorted out. But when we bring it back to the council, we'll have the contracts and everything ready for a formal vote.
I think this is the best scenario.
Yeah,
that we have.
Manuel, what I'm actually looking for the council to approve tonight is the negotiated prices. Once we have an approval on that, we can drop those in. Lance is gonna either do a business purchase agreement, an asset purchase agreement. I'm not sure if he even has determined what we're calling it yet. We have to develop leases for all the people that are currently in the commercial hangars. We have to develop lease agreements. We've got a lot of stuff we have to do yet. So there's kind of a seamless transition. I just want an approval from the council to move forward with the negotiated numbers that myself and Oscar and Pat sat and worked out. And just know that we're going to move forward with transferring that fuel over to the city as quickly as we possibly can. And I just would like approval from the council on those items. We will bring the rest of the agreements back to you.
I think we should
Once
move
we've
forward.
I'm sure
developed
the
it, I
fuel
think.
one will have an agreement as well that you'll have to review. So, I mean,
Yeah.
but we can deal with that as well.
Right, but that's gonna be with Phillips 66, not with contractors. But again, we have to migrate that fuel over as soon as we can.
Okay. All right. Council, what do you think?
Are you comfortable with those numbers that they brought to you?
It was a little bit more than I expected, but I think I wasn't expecting us to be happy with it. I don't think they were expecting to be happy with it, but it came out, this was probably the best negotiated deal we could get, so.
Okay.
If we were to try to purchase new or try to purchase one of their refurbished, we'd have some shipping costs as well, and, you know, that would factor into there, so I think it was probably, I think they really worked hard on trying to get what they got, so, is what I was trying to say. So.
Well, I think we're on the right track then.
Okay, Ralph,
No, that's fine with me.
Oscar, Daniel?
So, I know there's some concern with the airport advisory board that they have not been included in these discussions as much as they feel they could be or should be. So I would encourage anybody who is discussing these to, I guess there is a meeting this Wednesday or next
Wednesday
Wednesday?
night. This Wednesday evening,
Okay,
yes.
so that's a perfect opportunity to kind of report to them and see if there's any red flags that we haven't thought of.
Well, the last time we spoke to the airport board, we were there for 3 hours, and it was made abundantly clear to them what our options were. And one of the options was the city taking over the responsibilities of the airport, running it as an aviation department
Right.
of the city.
Right.
And we exhaustively went through our options with them.
Mhm.
The general consensus was that we want to make sure that we did not have a lapse in airport operation.
Right.
The airport's very important to us.
Yes.
And we all agreed on that. Kirk spoke for probably so long he lost his voice, and, but we will make sure the airport board is brought to speed this Wednesday when we have our board meeting.
The airport board doesn't have anything to do with the money part of it. That's strictly city. So that's what we were doing. They give us recommendations where we should spend the money,
Mhm. Mhm.
but it's up to the city council to
Right,
actually do
right.
it. That's why they weren't included in this part of it.
Right, yeah, and I think there is a understanding about what an advisory board does when you have a council who makes decisions on purchases and.
Is that something that would be restructured, that advisory board?
No.
Stay the same?
The advisory board, since it'll be a city department, rather than a private entity running it, the advisory board is probably gonna have actually more input.
Mhm.
And I explained in an email today to the board that the only item that has been decided on, as far as capital goes, is we're gonna do the self-service fuel. The council's already voted on that. Also, we're gonna be doing taxiway. That's through the FAA, they're giving us money to do that. We have not made any decisions whatsoever on any other capital items or any purchases. The only thing, like I said, is the self-service fuel. And that's, the council's already voted to approve that. Matter of fact, Pat just got notified from CDOT Aviation. They moved our grant up. We were gonna originally get our money in 2023. They called Pat and said, hey, would you like your money now this year to do the fuel? We said, yes, we would. Oscar said, take it. So we were just notified of that, and we haven't even had a chance to tell anybody yet. Because that's how, apparently, since the federal stimulus package was approved, is that what the reasoning was, Pat? Everything got moved up? So
now we're able to do our self-fueling station, so.
And
You know,
66 is working on different pricing.
Yeah.
For us as well. So the QT pod, as well as everything else. So we're gonna try to pull that cost down as well.
And according to the charter, all of our boards are advisory boards. The city council is the only governing board that makes the decisions and does all that. And we try to go out to the boards and we, look for their advice and recommendations, but ultimately it's this group right here that has to make those tough decisions and also carry the weight of those decisions when it goes wrong. So, these are the discussions we have, and we do look towards those boards for advice and for recommendations, and I felt like we did that in the last couple of meetings with the Airport Advisory Board, and we'll continue to do that. But with the airport fixed base operator, our options were very limited, and they were getting even more limited because the current fixed base operator wanted out as soon as possible. And with that being the case, we knew that going out to get an RFP to have a new fixed base operator bid, go through the whole process and everything else was going to take way more than May 1st. We're looking at another 6 to 8 months past that. And with that being said, we were either going to have to lock our doors or find a way to do fueling or buy the equipment and resell it 6 months later, or just buy it and continue to use it. And that's what the final determination was, to buy it and move
And
forward.
as you'll recall, myself and Kristen presented you with the budget. You had a revenue and you had an expense side. We have since been notified, the only outstanding issue on that budget was our insurance. They're gonna hold our insurance at $5,000 and some change a year for the next 2 years and then renegotiate that.
So our insurance costs did not go up.
So our insurance costs didn't even go up. And
So-
what we did when we did our budget, we were very, very careful to estimate our expenses on the high side, every one we could think of. And we were careful to estimate our revenue conservatively, because we want to make sure that the airport is self-sufficient. I think that's one of our goals, is when we're doing it. We don't want it to be a drain. Matter of fact, we would like the airport to help the community. We certainly don't want it to drain the general fund, that's for sure, so.
Okay, so we kind of have a consensus, so we're all good. I know you had the last comment, but you're okay with moving forward?
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. So we have a consensus to move forward. You have your direction.
We're gonna let the record reflect that, yes.
That it wasn't a formal vote because we're not doing a contract, we're just giving you direction.
Perfect.
Okay, so moving on to the next item on the agenda would be, we did the presentation of the key to the city to Zane. So the next item is consider approval of Sand and Sage Roundup request. So of course, every year the Sand and Sage has been doing their roundup. And Cindy Bennett and Diana Poole are here to speak to us.
Once a year, you get to see us.
So if you could state your name and,
I'm Diane Poole, and I'm the chairman of the Wild West Barbecue Cook-Off. And this is my co-chair, Cindy Bennett. She's shy, so I'm going to probably talk.
They all know you're lying.
I know. Did you guys get your letter in your packets, or?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, what we need to request for is overnight camping in the city park on the 6th, 7th, and 8th. And a few teams come in on Thursday night, but the bulk of them all come on Friday. And the ones that come on Thursday night, we all go out somewhere and eat in town, so, before we get into the barbecue.
Great. And the date of this is?
May 6th, 7th, and 8th, Mother's Day weekend.
The actual cook-off is the 7th and the 8th. You just have teams come in on Thursday. We have teams coming as far as, they're coming out of Texas, New Mexico, Missouri. We're one of the first cook-offs that they have. Of course, as you all know, they didn't get to do it last year, so they're hungry. They want to get out, figuratively speaking, and they want to cook, and they want to get out and socialize and be with people. So we also have a letter that we can give you. We do have blessings from public health. Megan has told us that we can move forward with it. We have very strict guidelines through KCBS, and Megan has a copy of those, and I can send them to Linda if you would like them. Also, if you don't abide by them, they're not going to let you have it. And that's down to masks, hand sanitizer. We'll have 2 tents to keep them apart. What else? It's
Yeah,
a
you
lot,
have to have
but we're willing to
hand-washing
do it.
stations, and, yeah, we've got it.
We'll do whatever it takes.
Okay.
We have a copy of the letter if you want. If you need any additional stuff, I can get it sent to you.
And we've got a band coming on Friday night, and they will stay under the ordinance of the park. They'll be quiet at 10.
All right, any questions for our visitors?
Just one question, where are they gonna be camping at there at the park? Is it the entire park or just a certain area of the park?
It'll be all along the roadway on First Street
Okay.
and down inside the park. And we do have guards that are there, but they, well, it's not official yet, but.
We didn't make the agenda. We will next time.
We have that blessing again, so you will see us again. So it'll be Friday night that we have guards and stuff there, though.
There probably won't be, I'd be surprised if there were 16 here on Thursday. We just have them traveling from far away, and once they get all set up, they don't want to have to set up in an RV park, tear down, and then go back to the park to set up for the competition. That's why they ask, if we come in Thursday, can we stay there? And they only have a certain spot that they can stay in. They pay for it. How big is their spot?
20 by 30.
Everyone been doing it 17 years, they've never.
It's a
Typically,
20 by 30.
they mark it off, don't they? They typically
Yes.
mark off the sections.
Yeah.
They know
And how-
exactly.
How many entries are there? How many?
Currently, we have 27.
We could only take 35 teams.
36. I squeezed another one in. It was a count thing.
We put 25 up on the road, and then we put 10 to 12 down in the park over by the skate park area, and they have to work by generator only, and they are well aware of that. So.
What's the band?
Jay from Buzzards.
From Buzzards.
Local band?
Yeah.
All right, any other questions from the council?
So, our stuff says that you only want overnight camping for Friday night, but what you're really asking for is 6th, 7th, and 8th?
For Thursday night for the few teams that do come in.
So
Because
What happened is
So
I
6
told
and
Diane,
7.
I typed the letter, then I think she got a couple of emails that said, hey, we may be here on Thursday, is that a possibility? And I said, well, I already turned in the letter, so.
I said, well, our city's usually pretty good to us sometimes.
So, that's why we
Might
asked the
cost you a
extra.
brisket or two, but.
Feed us. Bribery works.
So in addition to what you have outlined in the letter, you just want Thursday?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
So
basically-
Thursday and Friday.
I think I'm the only one who doesn't know what this is since COVID, we canceled everything last year. I never got to see any of this stuff. It's almost like my I've been here a year, but I've never seen anything.
You'll have to come.
It's blessed by the Kansas City Barbecue Society, and then we belong to Rocky Mountain Barbecue Association also. So we have a lot of judges come from out of town, and we also have 10 judges? 20. Yeah, there's 10 local and then 20. So if you get a frantic call, on the weekend, I need a judge, and you just come down. You get to eat good.
Yeah.
I move we approve your overnight parking permit for the 6th and 7th of May.
I would second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve their request as submitted. Any final questions?
You said the 6th, 7th, and 8th?
Mhm.
Yes.
So but do you need, there's not going to be any overnight camping on the 8th?
There's usually not. They may leave really, really late, but they
Yeah.
usually don't stay on Saturday. They haven't in the past.
There's been
but-
maybe like one or two that do
Okay.
because they have so far to go that they just stay
Okay.
and get an early start in the morning.
Okay, so I'll amend my
Okay.
motion, 6th,
Okay.
7th, and 8th.
Okay, thank you
Yeah,
very much.
probably just
I'll
to
go,
be safe.
I'll go with that.
Okay, so we've had an amendment to the motion, so it'll be for the 6th, 7th, and 8th as requested. With no other questions, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, and the motion passes.
Thank you very much. And we will have people selling barbecue there too.
Good. All right, next item on the agenda is to consider the approval of Lamar Day's annual car show. Mr. Cook is here, who has headed up this car show for many, many years.
It's not Mr., it's Ron.
Ron?
That old yet?
Commissioner Cook?
So under this capacity, this is the 25th annual, so we're
25th.
kind of split. It was supposed to be 25th last year, but you know where we went with that, so we're calling it 25th this year. We're asking to have overnight camping on the 14th of May. I believe we may have one local vendor set a trailer there, is all that's going to be there. Is actually no going to be anybody in the park. Our event will be on the 15th. Friday night starts with the No Booze Cruise at the Sonic Drive-In. This is in conjunction with the City of Chamber of Commerce. Our event will be on Saturday the 15th. Registration starts at 8 o'clock in the morning till 12. We'll have vendor booths, No Booze Cruise. Police Department helps us with that. We just want to thank Police Department, Fire Department, Sheriff's, everybody that comes out to be involved in the city for letting us have it. On our No Booze Cruise, we usually raise about $1,200 to $1,500, and that goes to the Lamar Fire Department for the fireworks fund. On Saturday, we'll have vendor booths. We'll try some different things. Fire Department will be there, the ambulance will be there. We'll have a climbing wall. Lamar Rotary Ducky Dash will be floating ducks, so if you need any tickets, holler. We got a few tickets for sale. We're looking forward for a very exciting event this year, so.
Okay, any questions for Ron Cook?
Is there a faster duck than the other one?
Good luck.
The yellow one.
Yeah, the yellow one, that narrows it down.
I make a motion to approve request.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the overnight request for the Lamar Days annual car show. Have that in there. Any final questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion passes.
Okay, I want to thank you again for this. I appreciate it. Also, April 2nd, City of Lamar and Lamar Days Rod Run are putting a Easter car show together for the whole community. Like we did last year, we'll start at the car, we'll line up between 6 and 6:30 at the Cow Palace. We'll start at 7 o'clock. We'll have maps out. We're not actually going to do the Easter egg hunt, virtual Easter egg hunt. We're just going to cruise Main and have fun. So inviting all of you to come out to that. I think it's a good event.
Yeah, I'm not sure about any of the other council members, but I know I've had quite a few requests after last year that people really enjoyed having the Easter cruise the night, on that Friday night. So Ron and I had spoken. We thought it might be great to try it again and continue that tradition.
There's a lot of interest, so I think it'll be a big event again. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming out.
Thank you. All right. Next item on the agenda is to schedule a public hearing for the special events permit for the Lamar Chamber of Commerce. So we're not doing the We're just scheduling it for
We're just
today.
scheduling
So
it
for our
for
next meeting,
April 12th.
April 12th. So if the council's good with that, we can schedule that meeting, the first part.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for April the 12th to have our public hearing for the Lamar Chamber Beer Garden. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimous. I didn't hear Jerry, though. She's on mute. She probably fell asleep. Are you there, Jerry? Okay. All right, next item on the agenda is to consider approval of lease agreement with the Colorado Department of Labor and Employment. Did I miss one again on this? Because I didn't have the
Ratifying the phone call.
Ratifying the phone call. I didn't have that little full page. Yes, I did. Okay, so we need a motion to ratify the council approval to submit a withdrawal letter to the State of Colorado Mine Land Reclamation Board regarding Prowers Aggregate Operators. So, a little background on this. Of course, the council had met a while back. In one of our meetings, we had discussed a letter of request to amend the mining agreement for Prowers Aggregate. We decided to approve us signing the amendment, but we added in a letter that stated that we had some concerns due to our wastewater treatment plant, future planning. That letter was causing a little bit of a delay and was going to cause a whole hearing. Since then, we've met with Mr. Nyquist and Roy Q, and we've come to terms with some different properties. We believe we're going to be moving forward with that, so the council did a phone poll to make sure that it was okay to withdraw that letter, and we did. So this is just a ratification of that phone poll, which was a unanimous vote. So, any questions on this item? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to ratify phone poll.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to ratify the phone poll. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimous. Now we will go to number 6, consider the approval of a lease agreement with the Colorado Department of Labor and Employment. This is, would you like to speak on this, Steve?
Well, I mean, this is something that, obviously, it's for the building that we have over here on Hollow Street, I believe. And this is something that has been expired, is going to expire in June. So, as you can see, it's outlined in the report, year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, for another 5 years. Right now, we have a lease agreement with an escalating annual lease of about 2%. They proposed that same scenario for the next 5 years. And I know that I've been working with Shannon Garcia, who's the supervisor. Lance has looked at the agreement. Basically, not too many, hardly any changes, right, Lance?
Nope, it's the same agreement. I sent Steve some changes, but they were the changes that were already incorporated into the last agreement, so I didn't imagine those would be an issue. I don't know if Steve heard anything back at this point. They weren't consequential either way. I just simply put them in there because that's what the other agreement had, and to keep it uniform with what the last one was, I added them, but I didn't, I guess, expect that it was going to be an issue.
I sent the change agreement over to Shannon. I have not heard back yet, because the way the state operates, obviously, it's not her decision. It's got to go to the lease department, then probably the Attorney General's office, and they've got to review everything again. So I have not heard back yet. Like Lance said, it's inconsequential either way.
We can approve pending those changes if you want, or...
It mirrors our agreement now. I mean, obviously, they're a great renter. They pay perfectly, I'm sure, for instance, right?
They do.
And you
It's
can
the
see what the lease
workforce.
terms are. 2% a year for the next 5 years. So I would recommend approving the agreement in either form.
So moved.
And I have no issue with it. Like I said, the changes were just an effort to keep it similar to what it was last time.
Make a motion to accept unless the state makes drastic changes. Oh, okay, I'll second it then.
Would you like to amend it to add what he had on it? No, just...
I liked your version in either form.
Okay.
Approve the lease agreement, authorize the mayor to sign in either form.
Yes.
So a motion and a second on the table. Any final questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimous. Jerry, are you there? Next item on the agenda is consider approval of lease agreement with the Colorado, oh, that was that one. 7, consider approval of amendment number 2 to contract between Aviation and the city of Lamar. This was with Pat. Pat, would you like to speak on this?
Sure. Good evening, Mayor and Council. So my first item tonight is basically an updated contract with Aviation, who's our engineer that works at the airport. I think everybody's aware of the Taxiway A project that we're working on currently, and it's going to involve eventually the complete reconstruction of it. We're hoping in concrete. So, but right now we have around $1.2 million available for our entitlements, and some of these is what we've loaned other airports over the years, so that's coming back to us this year. So we'd like to continue on this project and get that money spent where it needs to be spent. So this contract basically addresses all the preliminary design work, all the geotechnical investigations that we've done. Some of this work's actually already been done. We took core samples down the entire taxiway and sampled soils. And this includes all the grant. You know, they have to do a lot of environmental studies for the FAA for the grant, so they'll do that. But basically, it totals $46,501 for the Part A basic services.
Most of that's paid by the FAA.
It's all actually paid by the FAA. This all comes out of our entitlement.
There's no matching funds or anything like that?
There will be, in the total grant, our portion would be 5%, which is $60,000. And initially, I know Steve and I think Kirk, we even spoke to you about it, but it's a large match, but, I mean.
You're getting $1 million.
We're getting $1.2 million out of it also, so.
Okay.
You know, just so you know, we're not gonna, we made the decision that we want to do Taxiway A as far as we can in concrete. We need to probably start veering away from the asphalt at the airport if we want to look at it long-term and do something that's really gonna sustain and hold up to larger planes. So we were talking about it, we had a lengthy conversation with the FAA and CDOT Aviation, Aeronautics, I'm sorry. So, I don't know if you want to talk about that, Pat.
Yeah, one of the things we've learned over the last couple of major projects we've done out there, when we've tried to bid concrete or asphalt with the FAA spec, nobody wants to touch it. Now, for whatever reason, the concrete, they seem like they can meet that easily, and it's actually cheaper than the asphalt turns out to be. So we just as soon go concrete, to tell you the truth. It can last a lot longer and support a lot more weight. So we would rather lean in that direction on this project. Now, this won't take care of the 1.2 million, won't do the entire taxiway, but what we'd like to do is do what's shown in the drawings as phase 1, which would be the northern half of that, probably up to the crosswind runway. One other thing, the FAA did inform us that the way it currently is laid out no longer meets standards. So you can't come off the end of a threshold with a taxiway any longer. So if we touch it to upgrade it or reconstruct it, it'll have to be built back to their new standard eventually, which will mean that it'll have to move up and come off instead of the threshold. It'll have to come off further south of that, which will mean moving lights and some things as well. So that's why the cost, I think, is going to be a little bit higher than it normally would have been.
And you've had a chance to look at this, Lance?
Yeah.
So you reviewed it?
Yeah, I don't have any issues with it. It's just, you're paying for service here, so.
Okay. All right, any other questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to accept the aviation bid.
I'll second that.
It's approved amendment number 2, is that right?
Correct,
To approve the
yes.
amendment? Okay. All right, any final questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimous. All right, next item on the agenda is renew the Synthes Uniform Services Agreement. And this will be Pat presenting it as well.
So Synthes has approached us, our contract actually is expired already, but they're honoring the old one until we can work out something new here. But, so what they're offering is a 60-month, 5-year, more or less, and we would lock in a guaranteed rate where it wouldn't go up, which would basically secure us an annual savings of $8,260 per year. And so, and also they've agreed to update and upgrade all the employees' uniforms. If there's something doesn't meet standard anymore, they come in and replace it. So now, one thing Lance did make an addendum to that agreement. I can let Lance explain that. Yes.
Yeah, so after reviewing the contract with Synthes, number 7 in there has a termination clause, which is fine. You have to give 90-day notice in order to terminate. It also has consequences if you early terminate of having to pay 50% of whatever's left in that contract. Not that the city would necessarily terminate the contract early for any reason. However, I think it's a good idea to get a appropriation clause included in there, just because this is a 5-year commitment. And I think that I created an addendum with just simple language regarding Tabor and appropriation purposes. So I submitted that to Steve. So I think if we can get it approved, and then if they would accept something like that, which reading their contract, they have in there that this is a possibility that it could be with a municipality. So I don't know. I don't think they would be surprised by anything like this. And after talking with Pat about it, it seemed like maybe they kind of thought that might be an issue as well. So.
Okay.
So I move we approve the agreement with the appropriation clause.
With the amendment?
Amendment.
Yes.
And-
Prepared by Lance, right.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve with the amendment that Lance approved and the appropriation clause, right? Or is that the same?
Same.
Okay. Any final questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a bid for two new police vehicles. Chief Miller is here to speak to us about that, and Kristen McCray will talk to her as well.
So we went out to bid for two new Dodge pickups. The total amount requested is $57,488. The bid is off of the State of Colorado bid site. The lowest bid was Community State Bank with an interest rate of 2.86% with an annual payment of $12,089.19 for 5 years. This has already been approved in this year's budget for the purchase of these vehicles. So I'm just asking that the bid be awarded to Community State Bank and allow the mayor to sign the documents.
And one comment is, as a member, I do work at Community State Bank. I do the IT work only. I am not part of the lending team. But even though I will still abstain from this vote and will stay out of this vote. So I'm just working on that. Do you need to step out so you can take care of this, Anne Marie? Sometimes you stay with you. You need to step out.
No, you don't have to leave.
You don't have to
No,
leave?
no.
Okay.
You- yeah,
We
if
used
you
to do that with
abstain.
Roger.
Are we going to allow the mayor pro tem to sign?
Okay, so when the motion is stated, we need to add that the mayor pro tem would sign, not the mayor.
I make a motion that we give it to Community State Bank.
And that be
The bid.
And authorize the mayor pro tem to
And
sign.
authorize the mayor pro tem to sign.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second to, is that right? Am I missing something?
No, you're good.
Okay.
She was asking.
Okay,
So it's good.
so we have a motion and a second to approve the bid with Community State Bank with the mayor pro tem signing, and I will be abstaining. Any final questions? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Jerry said aye by text. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimous. Okay, thank you. Next item is the post grant. Looks like we're getting close to the end here. Post grant, this is with Chief Kyle Miller. Would you like to speak on this one?
Absolutely. So this is just the grants that the state of Colorado provides to allow the police department to be in compliance with the mandates which the state has put on us for our training. This year, we're requesting $8,349.59 worth of equipment. This is a no-match grant. We probably won't get the full amount, but this is what we're asking for this year. So I'm just asking to allow the police department to apply for the grant.
Make a motion to allow the grant.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any final questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Jerry? Motion passed. All right, item number 11, should be 10 now. The Lamar Animal Shelters Colorado Pet Overpopulation Fund Grant. Captain Miller, or Chief Miller, would you like to speak on this?
Sure. So this is the grant that we applied for through CPOF. I think it was last month we applied for it. We just got the award letter, being awarded $13,400 in total, which would provide animal care, emergency animal care, and spay and neuter of any animal prior to it leaving the shelter. So that's what this grant is for, and we were funded the full amount this year. I'm just asking for us to accept the grant, and it is an electronic acceptance, so there's nothing to say.
I move we accept the grant.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Next item is to consider classification and wage adjustment for the city clerk. And this is something that I brought in to the council to give some background on that. We generally in the past, we have requested a service where a company would come in and do a poll statewide, and they would compare our job positions with other positions within the state. And then they would give us a scale between a mid, medium, and high pay scale. And those jobs were classified into different ranges. And we use this guide as a schedule for our salary pay scale for the citywide. In doing some research, what I was finding was that the role of the city clerk in Lamar is a lot different than the role of the city clerk in other communities. In Lamar, our city clerk actually collects the sales tax and does a few more a little bit more broader job description than other jobs. As such, I am requesting to do a little bit more than a merit increase. I would like to change the classification of the city clerk from a classification that is currently at a 25 and move her up to a 27 in the pay scale. So this classification would be equal to the wastewater superintendent, the street department superintendent, which is a little, 2 levels higher than what it was before. So this we believe, after doing a lot of research and checking with the area to see where other communities were at, we felt like this was an appropriate move. So I was presenting this to the council. Do you have any questions on this?
I move we change the clerk's classification from 25 to 27 and make the wage adjustment.
I'll second it.
Okay. The wage adjustment that we were talking about, we will all get that submitted as well. We have a motion and a second to approve that. Any final questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Jerry?
She was logged off now, she's having to make it.
Okay. With that in mind, we.
When is it
says
effective?
aye on it.
Kirk,
She
when
just
do you want
texted.
that effective? The coming next pay or what?
Yes.
So effective next pay? Or the soonest pay?
I'll have to get with Kristen on that. We'll just double check and I'll get back with you. We don't have to have that in the motion.
Well, we just had one, so it would be the very next one,
Right.
so.
Well, we're in the current one.
But it would be this current one.
Started
Is
Sunday.
what I'm saying, yeah.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. I guess we just did that, but Jerry actually did comment, so motion passed. Yes, she did. All right. The last item on the agenda is miscellaneous items. Do we have any miscellaneous items for the council? There was one question on Facebook, or one comment on Facebook that I did see, just came up. It was a request to see if the Lamar Police Department would do more patrols by the skate park every once in a while, and maybe even try to get to know some of the youth in town. That was a request. I don't know what especially with spring and summer coming up, I don't know what your plans were, Kyle? Okay. All right. Did anybody else have anything miscellaneous? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Have a motion and a second to adjourn?
Can I
yes.
say something?
Yes,
That's
sir.
off the record. We own, construction company as well. I was listening to, you guys are, going to do some retrofit or whatever at the airport.
Yes.
Anytime you guys need any help on my cost, I'll send my supervisor to supervise it, or any equipment you guys want to buy, whatever my cost is, I'll pass it through. So
very generous.
anything I can do. So if you need some expert, because we do our own, I have a pretty decent size, we do our own tanks, dispensers, piping, the whole 9 yards.
Oh.
So, yeah, so we build our own stations. So if you ever need any help, so please call me. I'll send my supervisor from Phoenix, so they'll do that. And any bid you get, show it to me. Let me show you some savings. So I'll pass it through.
Does that mean you want to send a couple backhoes out?
I have those. I have a big backhoes and everything, but it'll be long ways to transport.
Oh, okay, I was thinking.
But we can definitely look at that.
If they can put in tanks, they can certainly help dig a beach area for swimming.
Well, you guys I can send my operators too, but the thing is, we have to rent it from here.
No, no,
because it's
no,
going to be a
no,
long
no.
way.
No,
But if I can
I
save
appreciate
anything,
that.
city, some money, like for dispensers, they're very expensive. So if you guys will get a bid from someone, so let me talk to the manufacturer directly and say, hey, this is a
Right.
good cause, so pass it through.
No, if we need an excavator or we need something like that, we can definitely, like I said, as long as Missy has your contact information.
Yes, she has my contact, yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank
That's
you.
a very generous offer, and we appreciate it.
Thank you once again. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Okay, so we had a motion. Did we get a motion in a second? Did we
I
vote?
didn't hear it,
So we need a motion. A motion
What do
to
you want?
adjourn.
I made the motion.
So, second.
A motion to adjourn, and we have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes, and we are now adjourned.